Initially, Catholicism isn't even under the leadership of Roman Catholicism. That only happened much later. And so Roman Catholicism took over the leadership of the Eastern branch. And today, we tend to equate Catholicism with Roman Catholicism. In the beginning, there was Eastern Catholicism and so on. There were several currents. It was thanks to the political power of the Roman emperor, notably under Constantine, that Roman Catholicism truly took the lead. At this point, what's important is to be astonished at the denial of the Son of Man's victory at Golgotha, when Yeshua's ordinary human nature, as stated in Matthew 13, 55, 57, and John 6, 41, 42, was a stumbling block for the conversion of the Jews, John 10, 33. How could the Messiah have been anything other than a human being? Hebrews chapter 2. In verses 11 and 12, especially verse 12, says he's not ashamed to call us brothers. How could it be otherwise, given that he himself says in Colossians 1 verse 15, that Christ is the image of the invisible God. We are the visible image of Christ, the image of the invisible God. How could he, the true Christ, the true Redeemer, the true Savior, have been anything other than a human being on the earth of men? How could this have been possible? That he was the image of someone other than God, i.e. a man, according to Genesis 1:26? How could Yeshua have been born other than by fertilization between two biological parents of opposite sexes, knowing that in Genesis 17, 4-7, or Genesis 35, 10-12, God has enchased, sealed the perpetual principle of procreation in the eternal covenant? How then could the Messiah have been anything other than a human being to come to the land of human beings to save mankind? How could it have been otherwise, given that, moreover, in Amos 3:7, God is the God who does nothing on the land of men without warning men through his servants, the prophets? How could it be otherwise when his servants, the prophets, as many as they are, according to Acts 3:24, rather he clearly, explicitly, openly announced to them that the Messiah would be a mere son of man. Born, therefore, the two biological parents within the regular biblical framework of a triptych, one man, one woman, and God the Creator, therefore under the aegis of the Most High, exactly as foreseen in Genesis 1:28, and as indeed for the children of Adam and Eve in Genesis 4:1, 2, and 25. As Bereans, we ask you to check all this out for yourself. Individually, no one will be judged in the place of another. It's written must become a normal reflex. As for the Bereans in Acts 7:11, Christian preachers won't encourage you. But I tell you, if you don't become a Berean, you'll die with the illusion of salvation preached by the current Christian gospel. God wasn't going to come to the land of men looking like someone other than himself, because if we are human beings, if we are men as we are, it's simply because he is the primordial man, the main man, the original man, the initial man. The essential man. He's not the one who is like us or who became like us by arriving on the earth of men to save us. Rather, it is we human beings who from the beginning have been made in his image. Still, it's quite a cavalier attitude on the part of the Christian gospel to succeed in the inversion, which is for human beings of my generation to wonder whether God coming to earth could be a humanoid or something other than a 100% human being born of a father and a mother. This revisionism is crazy. We are the way we are because he is the way he is. It is not he who resembles us, but we who are his likenesses. Genesis 1:26. God wasn't going to come down to earth as someone else by being the image of another. Who would this other be? Because he is the Alpha and the Omega, and from the very beginning he intended to create mankind in his own image. Genesis 1 verses 26 and 27. How is it possible to envisage that God, who is the initial original man, can come to the earth he has given as a home to human beings in a form that is not human, which is not its own image, even though the purpose of his mission with human beings was to save human beings? How could we have so easily swallowed that the jealous God of Deuteronomy 4:24, who in Genesis 1:31 declares his total satisfaction just after creating man in his own image, could not have been a simple procreated man, and that he has separated and disassociated himself to the point of needing to be delivered by Mary the Virgin, who made a child behind the back of her fiancé Joseph the Passive? Would God have cheated on someone's fiancé? Could God have consented to become a giant, a humanoid, when he punished the earth with the flood for this very reason in Genesis 6:1-7? The true Christ emphasized the importance of Matthew 24:37-1, where he warned about the similarity between the coming of the Son of Man and the days of Noah. Hence, the pressing question that we must address is of utmost urgency and cannot be overlooked. So what happened in Noah's time? In Noah's time, spirits unduly seduced by our sisters forsook their heavenly positions and descended in lust to the earth. One wonders, moreover, how spirits start lusting after women. Frankly, they don't look good where they are. Would God have given them an unsuitable home there? In short, they come to earth, they take our sisters, and then they go with them. And these sisters who let themselves be taken, who offer themselves, give birth to hybrid children, monsters. It's Genesis 6:4. And these children are giants, that is to say humanoids. They simply don't belong to the human species. They are neither sons of man nor sons of God. They are mixed. The horror. That's the question mankind should have asked itself if it wanted to see things clearly. Here's what Christian preachers don't